Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of A Handful of Hope. I am so happy and grateful to have one of my oldest and dearest friends as a guest today, Crister De Leon. And Crister graduated from the University of California, Santa Barbara with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Theater, emphasis in acting, and a Bachelor of Arts in Spanish Literature. Upon graduating, he continued taking acting classes at the Lee Strasberg Film and Theater Institute and at Santa Barbara City College. Crister appeared as the lead in an independent feature-length faith-based film, Redemption of the Heart, which premiered at the Arlington Theater. He has received numerous Best Actor awards. His love for acting prompted him to continue working on his original screenplay based on true Santa Barbara events. Thus, Rescued was born. Crister not only wrote the story, but also produced, directed, and starred as the lead actor, Augustus. Crister, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for having me here. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this.
I am too. So I'll just share with everybody, this is a rare treat for me to have someone who I've known as long and as intimately as I've known Crister. Crister has been a dear friend for most of my big kid life. I have known him through many phases of life. We've been there for each other through many ups and downs, highs and lows, shared lots of laughs, lots of tears, definitely a lot of food. Crister consumed more food than I did probably. And I'll say this too before we get in and let Crister share. Crister has been one of the most inspiring people I've known. And I think this is an important question to start with. And Crister, then you'll be able to kind of lead in with your own story. Crister and I first met working at a gym together. And the gym was routinely, we'd have long hours, you get in there really early, stay late, all these types of things. And I, at one point, got promoted to becoming the fitness manager. And so fitness manager, trying to motivate the trainers to do stuff and get them to work. And something, a little known fact about people in the fitness industry is often trainers can be some of the laziest people when it comes to building their business, their work ethic, everything else. Well, through all that, I'd always see Crister very tenacious, very focused, very dedicated to his clients. He'd always be there early. He'd always stay late. He'd always do the extra. He'd always be looking for more people. He was hungry to grow his business. He was busy. He was working hard. Only to find out later on that through all that, Crister was doing this whole other piece of life that none of us knew about, where he was building his own fashion line out. And one day he comes in, he says, I'm going to have this fashion show. I'm going to debut my line. And thinking, what? You're going to be in it? What's going on? Because many of us back in those days fancied ourselves male models and thought that we'd all go and prance around and stuff. But Crister and not only did he start this line, but he created the clothes, he created the designs, he sewed many of the clothes. And you find out that after his long day at the gym would be done, in the wee hours of the night into the wee hours of the morning, he'd go and work on this passion project, work on his fashion, putting his line together. And then he would put on this huge extravaganza, this huge show of showcasing what he is and what he's done. And it's continued to just always impress me, because for Crister, he always is doing something else. He's always focused on a goal that is greater than what he's currently doing. And he's one that he just truly embodies, never give up. So Crister, I want to start by acknowledging you and then let you take it over from there. Tell us a little bit about your background, your journey to get to where you are, and what is it that drives you?
Wow, you pretty much said it all. Well, I moved to the States in 1995 originally from Guatemala. I came here with the desire to pursue acting and to become an actor. I went to high school through community college up in Canfield, California, Marin County, which is where I originally arrived to when I first came here. Then I moved to Santa Barbara in 2003 to go to UCSB, where I went through the BFA program, the Acting Training Conservatory Theater within the UC system. And at the same time, I double major into Spanish literature, and I had a minor as well. And what has always motivated me in my life is that I know where I come. I come from a background where, though I was given the opportunity to study in private Catholic schools, we were still very limited in so many areas of our lives. And so to me, when the opportunity was given to come here, I definitely took advantage of every single one of those areas of my life, because I knew that in order for me to succeed, things weren't given to me for free, and so I needed to work extra hard, put the extra hours more so than the average individual who's been born here. And so that has always been my main factor of motivation. That I know where I come. I know where I come, and it's very little what I've had in the past. And though it's been beautiful, and I'm never ashamed of my past, of where I come from, I'm always striving for something greater in my life. And you mentioned earlier, indeed, I am always constantly working, not only in perfecting my business right now as a trainer, but also at the same time, after I worked on creating the clothing line, I switched into becoming a filmmaker, which is exactly what I went to school for. I've learned the crafts of being an actor in front of the camera, but I also, through producing my most recent film, Rescued, I've come to fall in love with the making of the movie behind cameras as well, being the director, being the writer, being the producer, being the overall businessman who is in charge of practically the captain of the ship, and I love that. I love that aspect of being able to have your vision come alive. And it's that drive that keeps me going through life, because I know where I come from, but I also know where I'm heading. And I know that in order for me to get where I want to get, there are many sacrifices I have made, I'm making, and I will continue to make, but I am okay with that, because I have a very specific goal in my life, and it's never, it never stops. There is always something coming along the way.
Christopher, I'm excited to talk about Rescued in a moment, because again, that's just it's such an incredible story of you putting this perseverance and staying connected and focused on the vision. You talked about opportunities and knowing you had opportunities. And I think something that I've always found so inspiring about you is I've constantly seen you see things that others take for granted, that others see as required or something we have to do, as opportunities. Whether it's talking about education, you've dove into education with just this vim and vigor and passion for absorbing and learning, whereas others often will go into education and look at it as something they have to do or something they're forced to do, or what's the bare minimum I can do to get by. You've taken, and I see this over and over again, anything that's put in front of you, you really embrace it as an opportunity. And so and I think that so many people could get so much further if we could evolve that psychology and see things as opportunities versus something else. And do you think that's because, is that a byproduct of going without and then realizing the opportunity to have? Or is it just something that you were always born with? Is it something your parents taught you? Is it people will talk about the immigrant mentality. Now immigrants can come into the United States, and so many of us who were born in the States were born, regardless of if you're rich or poor, you're born with basic survival needs met. Right. Food, water, shelter, housing, and stuff. So you're not necessarily going without. Where does that come from for you?
I believe it's a combination of everything that you've mentioned. It's the discipline that I learned through my growing up. My parents, especially my mom, who was a very disciplined, diligent, rigorous businesswoman, that she taught us respect, value, that anything that you would want to pursue in life wasn't necessarily going to come easy to you, that you needed to go out there and look for it. And even when that opportunity was given to you, not to take it for granted, because someone else could take it away from you, or someone else could need it more so than you. And so not only once you found that opportunity to truly embrace it and to take advantage of it and truly exploit it for the better of our growth. So that's one way. And I think it's also a byproduct of, coming from a different country and arriving into the United States and knowing that you just see things from a different perspective. You know that everything and anything is possible if you set your mind into it. And it's something that I've learned and that I've seen in my life, and that I've seen with other people who've come from different countries. And I believe that we share the common denominator, which is the drive, the consistency, the discipline, the tenacity to achieve what we want. Because to us, it's not a matter of if. To us, it's a matter of when I get there. It's not if. It's not a doubt of if. Personally, when I set myself very specific goals, I said to myself, I am going to achieve this by this particular time, date, and year. And, you know, there are obstacles and struggles along the way, but at the end of the day, I do seem to get there. And I've done with the fashion show, I've done with my education, I've done that with my fitness business, with my production company, my film studio, with my writing. It wasn't, oh, I don't know how to write, let me go find a writer and so that I can start creating this phenomenal story that I want to tell. Well, let's do some research, let's get down to business and let's write it. And you learn the process of mastering that particular subject matter through the actual doing it. That's why I love the slogan of Nike, just do it. And I think that's been my motto in life. I just do it, and whatever obstacles I have to face along the way, I will face them with honor, with respect, with dignity, because those obstacles are also equally part of the journey. So it just makes it much more worthwhile pursuing something that you want. Imagine if you were to achieve something that is given to you and it's so easy. I think we wouldn't really appreciate it. I mean, we'll acknowledge it's nice, I got here and, you know, it's good, but it's not the same when there's a certain level of struggle of achieving what you want to ultimately get. And when you get to that point, you know, it's not necessarily the destination, it's the journey that I've learned to enjoy throughout every single facet of my life up to this point. It's that step by step. It's waking up every morning. It's knowing that I get up at 5 a.m. or 4:30, that I have to go to the gym and do my cardio first. And then at 6 a.m. I have my work schedule from 6 to noon. And then I go back again to the gym and do my workout, strength training, and then come back and train my afternoon clients, and then come home and then go to a coffee shop and sit down and write the next screenplay, and then make phone calls, arrange other aspects. So the key right here, staying consistent, staying busy, and doing something every single day that gets you closer to your goal, to your dream. And that's where the discipline and the tenacity and the commitment comes to. You know?
So how do you deal with obstacles and adversity? I heard you say, you know, you meet them head on with discipline, respect. But when you and I both know from, you know, the joke always used to be at New Year's resolution time, right? No, Jim shows up January 4th. Nobody comes in January 1st or 3rd because everybody's still hungover and dealing with football and all those types of things. But January 4th and 5th, people start showing up to a gym. And January 5th through the 20 something, gym is crazy packed. Everybody's there, all the new folks. And then by the end of February, the gym is back to normal. And it's so many of those people come in with good intentions, you know, lose weight, get in shape, whatever it is, but they end up running into that obstacle, that adversity. The scale's not changing as much. Their body's not changing as fast as they were. It's sore. They're tired of waking up early. They feel hungry, making the adjustment to their meal plan. They're having to pee too much from all the water they're drinking, whatever it is. Right. There's some sort of obstacle or adversity they're facing where they decide, you know what, this is too hard, or it's not for me, or whatever that is. But you're the exact opposite. You embrace obstacles as part of the journey and you push forward. So when you're met with obstacles, when you're met with adversity, what are you saying to yourself and what are you doing to help you navigate through those?
It's been my experience throughout every single one of my endeavors that I have encountered the many layers of obstacles. And so I have learned to cope with the fact that it's not if it happens, it's when it happens. So when you're creating your formula or how you are going to achieve that specific objective, you must take in consideration the many obstacles that will come in your way. And instead of running away or blaming X, Y, and Z, you learn to say and acknowledge it and say, you know what, this is part of the journey. And as opposed to me quitting in the middle, how do I learn from it? What is the lesson that that this is teaching me? And from that point, I try to really step back and really conceptualize how is this obstacle part of the journey and how is it going to make it better? I faced a lot of obstacles through my education. I mean, going to college wasn't easy. First of all, I didn't have the money to attend college. I literally got accepted into all the UC systems, and I came to Santa Barbara not knowing that Santa Barbara existed. When I came to visit the campus, I fell in love with it. But it was a week before I was moving here, and I didn't have any money to pay for college. And I remember, I just deep inside me, I just knew that I was going to graduate from college, and that my desire and my willingness to to accomplish. My education was greater than anything else, and even the obstacles that, or the seemingly impossible obstacles that were in my way. And I remember one day going to my counselor at community college. This is up in Canfield, California, and I literally pour out my story. And she'd actually been following my college career. She knew that at that point I had a 4.0 GPA. Long story short, she met sponsors who paid for my college. And literally maybe 4 days prior to coming to UCSB, she calls me up to her office, and her name is Margaret Elliott. And she says, "Crister, I have really good news for you." And on the phone, I thought she said $1,000, but then I went to her office and she said, "Isn't that great? I found a sponsor who's willing to donate this X amount of money," which was practically the whole year's tuition.
Wow.
At UCSB. And so, I mean, every time I tell the story to people, it really brings really deep emotions within myself, because that's just an example of something that will come to you when you disregard or acknowledge the obstacles, but don't disregard them, and continue pursuing your objective, because the help will come. Those people who see that passion in you, that fire in you, they will come and help you out. Life is a race, my man. Life is not a destination. Many of us are going to fall down. It's a very slippery road along the way. And what I see now with our society is that we've become so detached from the basic human emotion, sympathy. And so when we become more sympathetic towards one another, I believe that we're going to have a better world in general. And so I've encountered those kind hearts in my life, those individuals who have said, "I see your drive, I see your passion, I see your commitment, let me help you out." And that's what it's always been my experience in every single facet. That was just for my academics, but I've also seen it in fashion, but I've also seen it in the filmmaking industry. My word, it's been mind-blowing. And that's when you put yourself, when you truly commit to making your objective a reality, people will also be attracted by that energy, I believe, because we all want to do something great, but not all of us have the same drive and passion. So when we see that drive in someone else, I think we're willing to help. We're willing to help.
I want to shift to film, Krister, because I know in August, there's going to be a pretty special day for you. And to make this transition, I want to share with everybody just a quick Krister story. I remember several years ago, Krister telling me that he wanted to write a children's book. And I've long learned not to question Krister. I'm no longer surprised by when he says he's doing something. So the only question I asked him was, well, where are you going to fit that in? Because he always has all these other things doing. He's, "Well, Jesse, whenever I go to the bathroom, I have a few minutes. I can sit down, pull up my phone, and write some notes right then. If I do that a few times a day, every week, pretty soon I'll start having pages, and very soon I'll start having a book." And the cool part was he was so serious, and it's true, is I think Krister is so masterful at making each moment matter. A lot of times, and I catch myself doing this all the time, if I have a call coming up at 2:30 and I get done with something at 1:45 or 1:55, rather than making those moments in between matter, I might, do something else. I might distract myself. I might screw around. I might tell myself, well, there's no need to transition into this because I need to stay focused on this. But Krister really is quite masterful, and it begs the question of what we can all do if we were to really focus on maximizing our moments, which transitions into the film. In August, Krister is debuting his new film, Rescue. Now, this is not a new film in the sense that it's just being finished. This is a 7-8 year passion project that, Krister, you talk about perseverance and overcoming obstacles and staying true to the vision and having to keep believing when everybody else seemed to doubt. This is such an incredible story about what led to the film's fruition and it coming in. Krister, I'll let you kind of tell the journey of Rescue now.
Rescue started in 2013. The original screenplay, it took a total of two and a half years, and it went through so many rewrites prior to actually approaching script doctors from Hollywood, 2 of them. After that, they spent about 6 weeks to 2 months working on the final final version of the screenplay, which at that point it was called Mirror of My Soul. Due to many circumstances in the making of this movie, the name is changed to Rescued, because I have literally rescued the movie. And so it's got this, the story, the narrative of the story deals with addiction, redemption, and brotherly love. But also the making of it deals with rescuing this project so that everybody can see the phenomenal story. And not phenomenal because I wrote it, but phenomenal because it deals with real subject matters. It's based on real life events, inspired by true events that have happened here in Santa Barbara. I've meshed them together and combined a linear plot where we're going to see the story develop from this main character, Augustus, who deals with the problem, the addiction of alcohol. And it's a subject matter that seems to be disregarded a lot of the times. You know, we don't necessarily talk about addiction in general. So the story is about that. The story happens in a coma state of being. Due to alcohol poisoning, he goes into a coma, and then the story develops from that point of view. So we as the audience begin to witness the story unfolding from this perspective. And he's narrating his experience of what he saw during the coma state of being 2 years later at an AA meeting. He, referring to Augustus, was the lead character of Rescued. So prior to getting the script doctors, then we went into production in 2000. So the whole rewrites took about 3 years. Then production was set to go in 2016. That lasted a total of 6 months. We had a hyphenated schedule, weekends only. That was for 3 months. Then we went a year and a half later, and we had to reshoot 23 scenes because we went through some changes in the story, and so the movie has been reconstructed from so many different angles, and it's become a beautiful story. I believe the audience is going to be quite impressed of the narrative, of the characters that are telling their stories within this storyline, and I'm looking forward to having everyone witness it. It's been quite a journey, both in front of the camera and behind the camera.
As a friend observing the last several years, Crister, it's been really remarkable because there's been, again, much adversity, obstacles to overcome through this. Being an independent filmmaker, you're always operating on a shoestring budget, you know, going into the day, not knowing if you'll have enough to cover the next shot, going through all these lighting changes, adjusting changes, working around everybody's schedules. And you're playing these multiple roles where you're not only the actor, but you're jumping behind the camera, you're giving the other actors direction, you're working on editing, you're working on the whole spectrum of this. And then when everybody else steps away and goes back to their normal life, you're still there working behind the scenes, trying to bring the vision to life, bring it into life, bring it to life, bring it to life. And you have finally brought this product together, and you've been able to take it and have it debut in some festivals. It's been winning awards in festivals. And as a friend, I'll just say this too, as a friend, Crister was nice enough to let me have a sneak peek of it. And we have a very open relationship in the sense that I feel very comfortable with Crister giving me honest feedback. He doesn't need to sugarcoat everything. I trust him implicitly, and vice versa too. And watching this entity, this thing that you know your friend has worked so hard and passionate about, there's a part of you that wants to go in and just love it no matter what, right? Because you don't want to say, hey, like, you put all this time into it and this isn't that great. Yeah. But you also want to give honest feedback. You want to stay in integrity with the friendship. And I think one of the challenges sometimes when you have a friend and then you see them on screen, you're trying to separate the friend from the character they're playing. I was so visibly moved by this movie that I was in tears. I had a hard time talking afterwards. I was a little choked up. I'm getting a little choked up right now as I think of it, because it was so well done and bringing and highlighting I think not just the alcohol, but the human condition,
Mhm.
the struggles that so many of us go through and we don't talk about. There's several different character arcs in it where Krister's character is struggling with addiction, but there's others who are also struggling with just trying to become a better husband, a better partner, a better friend, a better family member, trying to be this better version of themselves and running into what many of us will run into, which is just seems like there's another wall, another obstacle, another challenge, another fork in the road. And that I think many of us have, especially this past year, where it felt like we just couldn't get a break. We just couldn't get ahead. And there's I think, a really powerful and beautiful message that comes through this movie that speaks quite lovingly to the human condition. But when you know the backstory of how much went into it and the dedication, the perseverance, the unyielding and unrelenting commitment to seeing the vision come true, I think it makes the movie all the more powerful.
It's first of all, thank you very much, and I invited you to the private screening of Rescue because I wanted your honest feedback, and I know you are a very direct and honest individual, just like I am. So my we finished watching the screening of Rescued, and I looked to my left and I asked you, so what did you think? And you honestly, I saw your eyes tearing up, and it brought tears to my eyes as well. And I just said, I thank you. That's your response. So it meant a whole lot to me because you were able, as you mentioned earlier, to separate me as your friend and the character I was playing, in addition to the filmmaker, to the man who created this character, or this many characters. And so if it touched you, and it also continues touching me every time I have the opportunity to watch the film due to business aspects of it, the story has something meaningful and something powerful that is going to impact an audience at large. And it's a very universal message. It goes beyond language, it goes beyond religion, it goes beyond identities. It's just the human condition. And I concur with you, especially after a whole year of being locked down, not knowing what would happen. It's taught us that I think we're a little bit more sensitive at this point, so that when people come and see this movie, they're going to truly connect. Maybe not just with one character, but maybe with a lot of the characters. There is something for every audience member out there. And as a filmmaker and as an audience, that's what I appreciate about a film. When I go to the movie theaters, I want to be moved. I want to be able to connect with the characters. I want to be able to walk out of there and have some sort of a catharsis within me that the story's done. And I believe that that's exactly what I wanted to do with Rescued. And so I'm grateful for you, for your reaction. And my hope is that the whole audience who will come to the premiere August 21st at the Marjorie Loop Theater in Santa Barbara, California, will also have the exact same reaction.
Yeah, one of my favorite things, absolute favorite things in the world to do is to shed tears over seeing your people that you love and care about doing something incredible and bringing their visions, their passions to reality. I will never get tired of it, and I'm so grateful to have been able to share that moment with you. And I will no doubtedly be going through Kleenexes during the premiere. So, Krister, we're running on time. Before I ask my final question, let people know where they can get tickets. Where you just said August 21st, Marjorie Loop Theater. Kind of gives the rundown. What time is it going to start? Where do people get tickets? What do they need to know about the premiere if they want to come and check it out?
They can access tickets at filmfreewaytickets.com under Rescued. And I believe we're going to post the link there so that people can have access to the link easier that way. As well as you can find us on Instagram under Rescue the Movie. And you can find us on Facebook under Rescue LLC. And the premiere will be August, as I said earlier, August 21st at the Marjorie Loop Theater from 3 to 4 p.m. red carpet, 4 to 5:40 the showing of the movie. Then we're having a little break for bathroom break, and then we're going into the actual Q&A, which is about 25 minutes. Then for those who will purchase VIP tickets, we're going to go to the formerly known as the Fest Parkers, the DoubleTree, now the Hilton Santa Barbara Hotel on Cabrillo Boulevard. And the reception is now from 7 to 9 p.m., where we're going to be just having a great time and celebrating this 8-year journey that it's much, we need it. You know, it's our closure. And the reason why I decided to do it there is because that's what we had our original casting call. And so it's a full circle, bringing it to the exact same location. So I'm excited. I'm super stoked about it. And I can wait for everybody to be there and come and join us, and let's all enjoy the story. It's a story about the community, for Santa Barbarians. It doesn't matter who you are. I would love for everyone to come. This movie has something for everyone. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So if you find yourself in Santa Barbara, August 21st, you're traveling to Santa Barbara, you want to visit Santa Barbara, you live in Santa Barbara, August 21st, Marjorie Luke Theater, 3 p.m., the festivities start, and they go into the night with a full screening, red carpet. Crister set up a awesome panel interview with the actors. So we will ask them questions, I think, which is such a treat. Rarely do we get to have that insight into what filmmakers and the performers are going through. Being able to have that intimate time, Crister is creating space for that. And then there will be an opportunity to go and celebrate with them afterwards. And the Hilton is located right across the ocean. It's a beautiful location. It's beachfront. You name it, it'll be a great way to toast and to learn more and to mingle with everybody there. August 21st, Marjorie Luke's Theater. Crister, to wrap us up and bring us home, the ambitious guy that you are, what's next for you?
Well, I'm about to begin my master's at Antioch University in screenwriting, the beginning of summer, which isn't literally 3 weeks from now. Then working on my next screenplay, which will be completely filmed in Guatemala and partially in Santa Barbara. And we're looking into the projection for that new story will be taking place at the beginning of next year, spring, beginning of summer. Then we're going into production and at the same time distributing Rescued so that everybody can see it on the different social platforms. And that's what we're hitting right now. And eventually, obviously, Hollywood. I plan on doing the crossover with the next movie. I know it's a lofty dream, but you know, that's me. I always I always shoot for the stars, and if I land on the moon. So that is what's next for me. Continue working, striving for a better aspect of my life, and trying to accomplish what I set myself to do many years ago.
Everyone, you're going to want to rewatch and re-listen to this one. Not only is Crister one of my oldest and dearest friends, but he is a continued source of inspiration throughout my life, as I'm sure he'll no doubt be through yours. You listen carefully to his story, and it's just remarkable because while it's his story, he lays out some very key facets of what it can take to be successful and what all of us can do if we really put our heart, mind, and soul into something. Talking about looking at obstacles and anticipating them, not being surprised by them, but just knowing that they're there, expecting them. And what happens to you and your business, your relationships, your life, if you are no longer surprised by obstacles and adversity, but you're just expecting it? Do you greet it as a familiar friend as opposed to being shocked as if it's your worst enemy just showed up on your front door? He talked about having a clear vision and setting a goal and giving it a timeline to it too. You know, so many of us, we might have a fade of a vision and a kind of a iffy goal, and we give ourselves no timeline because it gives us a lot of room to wiggle out of it if we find that it might be too challenging and difficult. But what you hear Crister doing is he braces the challenging and difficult. He sees things as an opportunity, and where there's some opportunities in your life, to see things in opportunities where you're not, because you see a blind spot, because you see something that's overly familiar and not seeing it for the opportunity it is. And if you were to embrace that opportunity mentality, how could it shift and change for you? While we talked about Rescued and the premiere coming up in August, this is also as much a conversation about what it means to really pursue and never give up on your dreams. It is about the movie that Crister's put together. And if you have the opportunity to attend the premiere in August, I highly encourage you to do so. If for some reason you can't, be sure to keep your eyes out for it whenever it becomes available on streaming. I think the final thought I'd like to leave you all with is this: rescue, like so many things in Krister's life, is it always began with a vision. It evolved into an unyielding commitment to not stop until that vision was coming to fruition. And the question that I invite everyone to consider is, what would be possible for you, relationship, life, business, health, wealth, if you started with a vision, you really, really sat with your vision. It didn't matter if it seemed audacious. It didn't matter if it seemed crazy. You notice when I asked Krister what's next for him, he just started rattling off filming in Santa Barbara, Guatemala, eventually Hollywood. It's not an if for him, it's a win. There's no hesitation. He's confident. He already sees it as being possible. And he recognizes the road will be challenging and it will have its obstacles and adversity, but he's willing to travel it. And what would happen for you if you just decide on the vision? You said the heck with what everybody else says, and you believed, you doubled down, you tripled down on believing all the way in yourself, all the way into your vision, and that you just learn to embrace that the journey to be there will have its obstacles, have its adversity, and that's part of where the joy is found. To not be shocked by them, to not be deterred by them, but to be committed to learning from them, to be committed to growing from them, to be committed to using them to shape you into becoming that next best version of yourself, which is something I've seen Krister do over and over again through the years. Krister, thank you so very much, my friend, for making the time available. I look forward to our next walk and talk, and I'm looking forward to seeing you and seeing Rescued August 21st at the Marjorie Luke Theater.
Thank you very much for allowing me to share a little bit about my life, the process of the movie Rescued, and hopefully a source of inspiration for someone out there who is dreaming of something great. Don't
Absolutely.
dream, go do it. Thank you.
Absolutely. We will see you next time, everybody, on another edition of A Handful of Hope. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.